My name is Ted Wilson, and I've been asked today to be the Master of Ceremonies, which I haven't done too often before. I've done some ceremonies, but I've never been the master, so this will be a fun day for me. We want to welcome you to the Project Skyline Challenge Awards. It's really an important day because I think what this day and many other things that are going on is symbolic of a whole new direction that we're taking to become better about our air, about our carbon release, about how we run our homes, how we live. Energy is absolutely important to our lives, and it links up with everything else. So it's my joy to be here today. I work for the Utah Clean Air Partnership. We have three jobs. One is to educate the public. We have a really positive view of the public and that they can really make changes once they catch on to the need. That may be too optimistic at times, but fundamentally that's what we try to do. We spend about $500,000 of your tax money a year doing advertisements and persuasion stuff under the monocle Show You Care. You may have seen that during our inversion season, and now you're seeing it during the ozone season. So we try to reach out. We also provide grants, mainly to not-for-profits and governments. I'm proud that we've given a grant to Salt Lake City on an idle-free program. Vicki, way to go. You guys really mastered that and did a great job on it. We've done many other grants. We also have built a partnership. We have about 35 groups that meet once a month. And they come together and they try to compare notes and eliminate duplication and buoy each other up in dealing with the air problem. So that's what we do. About 40% of our air quality problem is due to what we'll call area sources. And those area sources are generally volatile organic compounds and other things that energy efficiency is tightly related to. And so that's a major hunk of what we're trying to do. And to the extent we can convince people to look at the profitability even of going to good insulation, putting in solar, doing whatever they can to make that home more efficient, we get ahead by leaps and bounds. It can be done, and it can be done very quickly. And the fact that we have people here today that are invested and performing in better energy efficiency is what we're all about. So we're delighted to do that. So today we're here to celebrate you who are with us, who are building owners, property managers, and others who've gone out of your way to make energy efficiency a pioneer venture in our community and to reach out to the bigger world and convey the goodness of doing that. So we're very proud of that. We have today with us three esteemed guests, Mayor Ralph Becker, Kathleen Hogan, and Matt Dalby. Mayor Becker is our environmental mayor. He does a lot of other things pretty well too. He's a really good skier, I know that. But Mayor Becker, I think, has distinguished himself as someone who reaches out in the community, who engages community support, and he's steered that concern toward better bike riding, toward energy efficiency through this program and others. He's done a yeoman job in focusing on clean air, making that his major speech to the city at one point. He's a protector of the Wasatch Range and the environment and the watershed, and of course the leader of the Skyline Challenge that we're doing today. Mayor Becker, known as the environmental mayor, We had a couple of other mayors in the past who were known as the Olympic mayors. You might remember Didi Corradini, who went out and hustled and got the Olympics, and then Mayor Rocky Anderson, who actually led us during the Olympic Games. My distinguishing monocle is restoring the Salt Lake City sewer. So you know what I'm known as. Let's ask Ralph Becker to come up. We'd like to hear from him now. Ralph.
Ted, thank you. I could only dream of being known as the sewage mayor. Actually, I think I am in some circles. But Ted, thank you. Ted actually was an incredible environmental mayor. Those of us who remember that era, when he served in the capacity that I'm fortunate enough to serve in today. I appreciate both all of you being here and of course the recognition we're providing today for people in our community. In 2013, we released in Salt Lake City our Salt Lake Sustainable Plan 2015. And that plan focused on a number of items under the incredible work of Vicki Bennett and our sustainability division for things we could do across the board for Salt Lake City to achieve levels, whether it's reducing our air pollution and our carbon footprint, or whether it's providing options for people to get around. A lot of things that tie together really towards having this city do everything that we can within our jurisdiction and our ability to really improve our actions. A major focus of that was reducing our total building energy use through city buildings. The emissions that are associated with energy in residential commercial buildings, as Ted noted, account for nearly 40% of pollutants that affect air quality on our winter inversion days. And we know that if the largest buildings in Salt Lake City adopted energy efficiency best practices, it would help remove 1 million pounds of pollutants. And that we'd also be able to prevent over 650 million pounds of carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere in each year. So we took it upon ourselves in terms of within city government to set an example for how we could play our part directly in reducing air pollution and reducing our carbon footprint. We established an executive order that directed each of our departments to evaluate and implement energy savings practices in all of our city facilities. And then in April, we joined a national Better Buildings Challenge where we committed to reducing energy use by 20% by 2025 across 2 million square feet of city-owned buildings. So we're very actively engaged, and any of you who may have looked at our sustainability dashboard will know we measure our progress literally year by year to see how we're doing and where we need to improve what we're doing. In this area, I can tell you we're well ahead of schedule, I'm glad to say. But we cannot meet the challenge we have in terms of energy alone. And that is where the private sector and the buildings that we see in downtown and throughout our city are the key, we know, to our success. In 2014, we launched the Skyline Challenge, which we're here to sort of celebrate our successes today. And it was an effort that we pursued against competition all across this country to be able to bring in national resources to Salt Lake City to make huge improvements with our private sector partners. And we were one of 10 cities selected from across the country to move that forward, and it has really had, as we're learning today, incredible effects. So since we launched that in 2014, more than 40 buildings have joined the challenge. We have collectively committed with those buildings to reducing energy use by 15% by 2020. And our Project Skyline team, which has been public and private and local and national, has hosted 6 workshops and provided countless hours of assistance to those building owners. And I want to thank particularly our partners in this effort, Rocky Mountain Power, Questar Gas, BOMA Utah, U.S. Green Building Council Utah, the AIA, or American Institute of Architects in Utah, and Utah Clean Energy. So I want to thank our partners in this for this ongoing effort. And we know we will see the effects in terms of reductions in air pollution in Salt Lake City, and as importantly, maybe long-term even more importantly, reducing our carbon footprint. So now I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Kathleen Hogan, who will be coming up here to speak. She's the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Energy Efficiency in the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. In this capacity, she oversees more than $600 million in annual energy efficiency policy, program, and research, including advanced manufacturing, buildings, federal energy management, low-income weatherization, and intergovernmental partnerships. As part of the senior leadership, she also helps to implement and achieve energy efficiency goals, including those laid out in the President's Climate Action Plan. And for any of you who have an interest in what's going on nationally around the actions that are being taken around reducing our carbon footprint nationally and around the globe, it is an amazing piece of work. Before this position, she served for more than 10 years as the Division Director in the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, where she was responsible for the development and operation of EPA's clean energy programs, focused on removing market barriers for energy efficiency and renewable energy. So we appreciate having you here. I know you've been in Salt Lake before, and you enjoy our community and our region, but it's great having you here to help us represent the work we're doing in the city.
Thank you so much. And I am really excited to be here in Salt Lake City as part of recognizing the leadership and really tremendous accomplishments of many of you in this room. I think I used the word leadership. You know, at the Department of Energy, we really do value leadership in energy efficiency. Energy efficiency, or whatever you want to say it is, one of the things we like to say is that it's reducing energy waste. You know, energy efficiency, reducing energy waste, it does just make sense. You heard from the mayor some of the air pollution benefits and the carbon benefits we can get from energy efficiency. Certainly those are big deal items for energy efficiency. There's also the jobs that come with it. And every time you look at energy efficiency, it just comes up as a win-win-win for the country. And leadership is also important when we look at energy efficiency, because while we can say energy efficiency does just make sense for the reasons we can all talk about, it does take commitment. It takes committed organizations to put the right goals in place and to put the right teams in place to make it happen. And when we do this, we can show many, many others, whether it's other businesses, hospitals, schools, many others. We can show them what works, and as part of that, really help accelerate the adoption of energy efficiency and all its many benefits so much more broadly. Mayor Becker mentioned Salt Lake City's participation in the Better Buildings Challenge, which is a national effort, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about it, as well as some of the other initiatives, what really one, that is, it has helped spawn. So the challenge, it was actually launched by 2 presidents in 2012, Presidents Obama and President Clinton, really because of the importance of building energy efficiency in this country. It was launched with a goal of dramatically improving the efficiency of our commercial, industrial, and residential sectors by 20% over 10 years. So why? As a nation, we spend over $200 billion each year to power our commercial buildings, and about another $200 billion for our industrial facilities. And time after time, when you look at many of these buildings and facilities, we can see that we can reduce these costs by 20% or more through any variety of means, whether it's building design, new materials, equipment, improved operations, and other things that go with it, such as improved leasing practices. There's a whole array of things that can help us get those savings in a cost-effective way. And of course, that would add up to something on the order of $80 billion a year in savings. And as I said, that would be with new jobs and with the reductions in carbon and other pollutants. So again, amazing outcomes that we can all achieve. So where is the Better Buildings Challenge now? Well, we have 250 public and private organizations across the country who have set these goals. And through the challenge, what organizations do is set the 20% savings target across their entire portfolio of buildings. And then they also agree to share their strategies, the ones that work, to help them get to those savings with the marketplace. So the mayor mentioned data and accountability and dashboards. We sort of do a similar thing, and we've just come up with our results for the fourth year, where partners have shared energy data with us for 32,000 properties. And across those 32,000 properties, they are reporting savings of 20% or more at 4,500 properties, 10% or more at 12,000 properties. And again, this is 4 years into the challenge. And then overall, across these entire portfolios, we see that these organizations are saving, on average, 2% each year, which is on target for 20% over 10 years, and have achieved a total of $840 million since the program began. So again, 4 years in, and really some tremendous accomplishments. They've also, because I mentioned the importance of the doing and getting the benefits of it, but it's also the sharing, right? They have also contributed more than 120 showcase projects and 70 unique, okay, this is kind of a government techie term, implementation models, kind of boring, but they've shared 70 sort of case studies, models for what they did in a very detailed way to get the results they're getting. We call them playbooks, implementation models, and these solutions are now available online to help others know what they did and hopefully help them follow. So we're also very excited that Salt Lake City joined the challenge earlier this year. Salt Lake City becomes one of about 40 local governments that are now part of the challenge, working with us and their communities. So Salt Lake City has joined with like Atlanta, Boston, Cleveland, Denver, District of Columbia, Houston, Philadelphia, really a great group of cities working to improve their efficiency. We certainly see that local governments play a really important role with energy efficiency in their communities. We see great things like facilitating adoption of new technologies, helping share best practices across their market sectors, buildings, industry, transportation, and also implementing innovative and up-to-date policies, codes, financing strategies, things that can really cut through some of the barriers that have limited investment in the past, and also developing new models for public-private partnerships. And I think we're seeing one of the great examples here today. So I think when you look at the types of things that can be achieved, both what we're working on nationally through the challenge and the types of things we see here today, we really can see millions of dollars of taxpayer savings from more efficient public buildings, as well as through use of a variety of policies and programs that are being used across the country. And we're very excited about the public-private partnerships that are growing across the country. One of the other things I would like to highlight, and we're very excited that Salt Lake City is part of this as well, as part of their Project Skyline initiative, is its participation in the so-called Energy Data Accelerator. you can tell we have trouble coming up with like really exciting titles, but Energy Data Accelerator is really important. It is a national effort to help improve how building owners access energy use data from the utilities for their own buildings. Again, across the country, we see that the owners of commercial and multifamily buildings frequently don't have access to the energy use information in tenant spaces. We see that real estate leaders commonly cite lack of this data as an important obstacle to them improving the efficiency of their buildings. So through this accelerator, partners have agreed to demonstrate streamlined, best practice approaches that provide building owners with the energy use information they need to conduct energy benchmarking and then work on the other things necessary to improve energy efficiency in these buildings. And this is very important, to do this in as consistent manner as possible across the country so that it's all done in as low a cost a way from one city to the next. Here, Rocky Mountain Power and Questar Gas have partnered with Salt Lake City. And as you look across the accelerator, it includes 20-ish city and utility partnerships that are all working to do this in as consistent a way as possible. It's great to look at Salt Lake City and its utility partners and see the really great progress being made here. In fact, I understand that Rocky Mountain Power is scheduled to launch a fully operational automated utility data access program late this year. So it's really a tremendous amount of progress here. So I would really like to congratulate Rocky Mountain Power for its leadership in making this critical customer service tool available. And I'd also like to thank, again, Mayor Becker and all your partners for your leadership here. Certainly, I'm excited to be part of this event, recognizing the winners of the Mayor's Skyline Challenge. And on behalf of the Department of Energy, look forward to working with all of you in the future as we keep working toward these really important but ambitious but doable goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. That was a lot of good stuff for us, and we really appreciate it. It's my honor now to introduce to you Matt Dalby. Matt is Director of the Office of Sustainable Communities at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA. The division works with federal agencies, including other elements and parts of EPA and state government, to develop policies, guidelines, priorities, and technical assistance that supports all kinds of sustainable development. He writes about and has spoken to a variety of audiences around the country on smart growth in rural areas, state policies that support better development patterns, school siting, and a range of other issues related to growth and development. In fact, Matt, I noticed school siting. We have a prison here that if you could stick around for a few days, they need some help on siting. So see me after, will you? Or see the mayor. I think he's got quite an interest. Prior to joining the EPA in 2004, Dalby spent 5 years on the faculty at Jackson State University, where he taught in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning. The author of one book and several articles on planning. We're delighted to have Matt here today and look forward to his remarks. Matt.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate being here. I was asked a couple times, have I been to Salt Lake City before? And I flew through here once, or I flew into here and I went down to Moab. And part of the reason to come out here was to come and visit this great place that you all are part of making even greater. And I really appreciate being here. I mean, this morning, I don't know, where, Vicki, we drove sort of south of town. I mean, the mountains here are beautiful. I mean, I mean, like, what do I do to see those every day? I live in Silver Spring, Maryland. If you think about Washington, D.C. as being a diamond, I'm right at the top of the diamond. We have our things that we appreciate in Washington, D.C., but we don't have mountains like this, and we don't have clean air like this, and we don't have the beauty that you all have here. So I'm tremendously envious, and I'm tremendously envious of the work that you all are doing to make your place even better. I got bored with my bio that you read. I mean, gosh, it's so policy and wonky, right? So I have to change that. Maybe I can get it to like a sentence or two. I'm an urban planner. I have what I think is probably the best job that I could have in Washington, D.C. I get to work on urban planning issues all across the country. And sometimes I'm working in communities like Detroit, and sometimes I'm working in communities like Salt Lake City, and it runs the gamut between the two. The work that my office does is generally working with communities, working with states and other federal agencies to get communities to grow better. And what I mean by growing better is having the next increment of growth support compact, mixed-use, walkable type communities, which are all better for the environment. We do this in a non-regulatory way. We do it by helping communities figure out how they can change their zoning codes and their comprehensive plans, how federal investments can be used in a way that helps communities grow more sustainably. But we do this in part not just because of the environment, but because it honors the investments that our parents and our grandparents have made before us, and it makes communities better for our kids and grandkids who are going to be living here, right? So if we improve the air quality, if we clean up brownfield sites, if we use green infrastructure approaches to filter some of our stormwater, these are all going to lead to better environmental results for our kids who are going to come after us. But it's also going to be good fiscally, right? We've demonstrated very, very clearly that when we grow more compactly, when we build more developments like this and less developments that require more and wider roads and more pavement for parking and things like that, these developments are better fiscally than those developments. And then that brings me to the work that you all are doing here. When we nestle in the idea of more efficient buildings, when we reduce the waste, the energy waste that goes into buildings when they are not efficient, we just compile or aggregate the better environmental and fiscal outcomes that we all are working for. So, just to sort of to put a finer point on it, an energy efficient and cost efficient built environment is one that's walkable, it's compact, it's built where there's existing infrastructure, it's one that provides transportation choices that the Mayor Becker talked about earlier on. It's a community that has a variety of housing choices where we can live at various times of our lives. I mean, all of us probably rented at some point in our life, and we probably will rent at some point later, and certainly our kids will. A sustainable community is one that has convenient access to jobs and amenities, and it's a type of community that allows all of us to address the environmental challenges that we are trying to address at this point. The bottom line, though, is whether we're talking about building our communities better or whether we're talking about reducing the waste in our communities, it all requires leadership, right? And leadership from the public sector in particular, right? I mean, one of the great things about what's going on here is not only has the mayor challenged the private sector to do better, the mayor has looked back and said, in our city, we are going to begin to meet those same challenges that we're asking you to do. And in the communities that I get to work in all across the country, where there are better outcomes, they are coming when the public sector and the private sector both do take part in leadership as well as both take part in implementing these ideas. But implementing these ideas is difficult, right? And sometimes it requires innovation and creativity that is not sort of readily available in front of us. And I think the private sector in particular is set up to innovate and make positive changes, whether it's in and around economic development or energy efficiency or sustainable communities. Lots of folks across the country, lots of developers across the country are making money off of building compact, mixed-use, walkable communities because it's good for their bottom line, it meets the market demand. And the same thing is happening in sort of the energy efficiency space. So I want to commend you. You all are doing great work, and we at EPA want to point out really positive work that's going on across the country in this space, in the sustainable community space. And the Mayor Skyline Challenge and the Salt Lake Plan is just about that. And I just want to mention one thing about the way our administrator, Gina McCarthy, speaks about this. I don't know, Mayor Becker, if you remember last year at the National League of Cities meeting, Secretary Donovan, then Secretary Donovan, Secretary Fox, and Administrator McCarthy were all on the stage together. And they did a really funny, really great thing. I mean, they were sitting up there in front of these tables, and they all pretended for a moment that they were newscasters. And actually, one of the funny moments was when Gina McCarthy, who's from Boston, pretended to be the sportscaster and just reported that the Red Sox had beaten the Yankees, which was a little bit of a dig at Secretary Donovan, who was from New York. But and then I think he wound up by saying something about the weather, and it was anyway. It didn't go over very well, but it was a pretty funny. It was a pretty funny moment. But the point that I was trying to make is that at that meeting, she said, "We in Washington D.C. don't know what the solutions are to the intractable problems that we are trying to solve at the community level. And we in Washington, D.C., in the bureaucracy, in the administration, need to learn from you all. And we're doing that here, right? You all are stepping forward and saying, we want to solve the climate challenge. We want to solve the challenge that has led us to want to grow more sustainably. And we in Washington, particularly at this moment, have the ability to take in those ideas and institutionalize them across the country. We want to share them with communities, but we also want to make sure that our programs and policies allow this stuff to happen in every community by default rather than by the exception. Okay? We have a moment right now. We want to learn from you all and make it part of how we do our business on a day-to-day basis. One of the things that EPA sees about the Mayor's Skyline Challenge is that it's a model local program that takes advantage of EPA's Energy Star program. And it's interesting, I came all the way out to Salt Lake City to meet Kathleen Hogan, who actually ran the Energy Star program at EPA. And it's one of those ironies of being in the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., and I'm so glad to meet you. So Kathleen actually knows a little bit more about the Energy Star program than I do, right? But I do know that the Mayor's Skyline Challenge is leveraging the resources of the Energy Star program, and we at EPA truly appreciate that. We also know that the Energy Star program is a success story about which EPA is very proud. When those of us who work at EPA go around the country, we are not often thought about as something that is successful, even though we know that every single day the work that we do is making the air cleaner, the water cleaner, cleaning up dirty sites, and making the environment better for our kids, for us, and such. So, but we do know that Energy Star is one of those programs that we can talk about in a very positive way. We know that Energy Star allows in 1 year for wasted energy to be reduced by as much as 30%. And we know that here, particularly in Salt Lake City, that folks who are running those buildings know that it's fiscally prudent to use Energy Star practices to reduce not only the energy use, but also the fiscal bottom line. We know that over the 20 years history of the Energy Star program, that there are tools that are available that can help you reduce your waste. And we also know that it can help both cities and communities as well as private sector actors to reduce the energy waste as well as to continue to be a sustainable, continue to have sort of sustainability as a goal. Two last points I want to wind up. One is in EPA noting that Energy Star certification has been used. We know that since 2013 in Salt Lake City, the number of Energy Star qualified buildings has doubled. And we are proud of that you all are using the Energy Star process for that. But we also know that you all should be proud of that as well. And then my friends in the Energy Star program asked me to particularly make a shout out to the Salt Lake City School District for earning Energy Star ratings for 26 buildings in 2014 and gaining membership into what is called the EPA's Elite Energy Star Certification Nation, right? I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's important, though, to point out that this is, again, a place where the public sector is leading and the private sector actors here. If you want to sort of take that as a challenge to see if we can get more private sector buildings into this, I think that would be a good thing. So in closing, just let me say, I'm really proud to be here. EPA is, and particularly the Energy Star program, is very proud of the work you all are doing here. And I personally am hoping to come back and enjoy some of the views of the mountains and maybe even some walks in the mountains if I get a chance. Okay, thank you very much.
We've heard a vision here today. I think of a community that is closer together, that really looks at how it expends energy, how we house ourselves, how we seek, I think, a revitalization of our community communications, where we have a tighter control maybe over the political elements of our smaller communities, and we have more input between the political leadership and people. This is the movement I think we're on. And I think there are many, many good signs about it in America from the days of sprawl and spread out and drive too far to, I have 2 daughters and they live in California and they live in LA and they love it, but I say, you can do anything you want in LA except you can't get there. And they agree, but they still love it. But, there's just something happening that you are the leaders of. It's much bigger, I think, than even your energy projects. I think it's stuff that goes to human relationships in a more intimate and thoughtful way. So today, to bring to all of us leadership, people who have stepped up through the Energy Star program, whatever it is, it's really an important event in this city, and I'm very pleased to be with you on it. Well, we're going to have some awards, so I think we're going to ask Kathleen and the mayor and Matt to come up, and I'll read the award winners. And I think we've got a photographer here, right, to take good? All right. So first off goes to basic research. Where are you folks? Right over here. Okay. Now don't come up too fast because I got to embarrass you by telling you all the good things you've done. So, okay. 2014 Energy Star score 99, up from 89 in 2013. A program of comprehensive lighting and HVAC system efficiency improvements. An on-site 1.4 megawatt solar project. That is the largest in the state of Utah for a private concern and approaching net zero in its operations. Congratulations, Basic Research. The Sustained Excellence Award is given to Fidelity Investments. Where are you folks? Okay, right back here. An Energy Star score 96, up from 94 in 2013.
Those are big steps, too.
LED lighting and lighting controls projects implemented. Other activities include a LEED silver level and also electric vehicle charging stations. That's a very, very important part of not only energy but clean air. Thank you. The Energy Efficiency Leadership Award goes to Newmark Grubb Acres. Where are you folks? Right over here, okay. They have terrific energy scores, Energy Star scores. Most of them are better than average, and most have increased greatly, including one 12-point increase in the past year. A large number of energy efficiency projects in several properties, lighting, controls, and HVAC. Highly involved, participated in all Project Skyline workshops, and presented in several. Supported utility data access efforts. Company leadership, participates in BOMA, Utah's Energy and Sustainability Committee. Company leadership also helped launch the Boma, Utah Kilowatt Campground. Oops, crackdown. Way to go. The Benchmarking Champion Award goes to the Salt Lake City School District. Photovoltaic wide Energy Star score improved by 18%, up from 71 to 84. 72% of the district schools are not only benchmarked, but also certified as Energy Star buildings. Wide breadth of efficiency projects implemented. Overall trend toward improvement across portfolios. Long track record on implementing efficiency and benchmarking. Consistent participant in the Project Skyline workshops, including presenting at one workshop, supported utility data access efforts. Way to go, Salt Lake School District. The next award goes to the Most Improved Energy Star Score Award, the McGillis School. Where are you folks? Great. A 97 Energy Star score in 2014, up from 80 in 2013. That's quite an improvement. And a successful retro commissioning project leading to the second project. Congratulations to you at the McGillis School. That's our awards for the day. And Mayor Becker, do you have anything to cap this off today you'd like to say?
You don't want to hear from a politician. No, it's nice. Thank you for your leadership here as well.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you to our federal guests and visitors, and the message you brought to us is just cool stuff, just really great. We are fighting the battle of air quality, which is so close to the energy battle. I know they both have different parameters, but in the center they come right together. I know that this community can do it. We were once told we could not do the Olympic Games. And even though we had a little scandal along the way, we had great games. We're always a little imperfect around here. We didn't think that we could control the floodwaters in Salt Lake City in 1982, and I was able to get 10,000 people out on a Sunday morning to throw sandbags. Anybody here do that? Yeah, look at that. These are heroes. And, when that happened, I walked down Main Street late in the day. I was the mayor, and everyone was just thanking me for getting them out of church. It was quite a day. We do a lot of church around here, you know. So this is a community that knows how to get it done. And we got a mayor that does that. We got federal help. We've got you folks. And remember now, you're the ones holding the flag in the air. So hold it high, be proud. Thank you.